Wow. Enoch Benji Ka. Enoch. I'm sound like Enoch, right? Bogu Ka. Enoch Khan was a Khan of Naamans. According to Gulmit Leaf, his Christian name was John. Now, this may seem like a random hit, but this is the 131st installment of the Prester John investigation. And John means king. You know, sometimes they say John, sometimes they say Juan. Either way, we're talking about the Emperado de los Abyssinios. All right, just dig. Hey, we just at this point we can surf the wave wherever we want. We just jumped into the Mongol history. We just jumped into the Mongols because they have a King David connection too. I mean, let's figure this. Let's figure some stuff out today, man. Let's put like Genghis Khan. I don't know if I'm spelling that. I'm probably spelling that wrong. I don't know. After all this time, I should know how to spell Genghis Khan. Genghis Khan, King David. Let's just put David. What does Genghis Khan have to do with David? Of course, we got a bunch of authors named David all of a sudden. Everybody writing about Genghis Khan. My point is, if Genghis Khan is not mythological, that means he's a hard hit when we tie in David, when we tie in Prester John. Fine, I have to put Preston next to it because they keep giving me authors, book authors, Let's see what happens now. Genghis Khan, David, Preston. Uh-oh, boss. It's Preston 131. Pull up a seat, boss, man. All right, we got a couple of hard hits, and I like these because how many people y'all think in a given 24-hour period puts into Google quotation Genghis Khan, quotation David, quotation Preston? In that combination, not very many, but not very many. And look at, some more documents we never heard of. The Mongols and the Legend of Prester John. What? That's a book I've never heard of that book. And we've been reconning damn near 10 years, right? Damn near a decade. The Legend of Prester John and his Lost Kingdom. The Europeans soon learned that King David, a supposed descendant of Prester John, was Genghis Khan, right? Because Genghis stole the Khan, right? When he defeated a Prester. I don't know if it was the Prester. Could have been his son, right? Could have been his son. I'm just doing all this off of the snippets. This is just a snippet. It's Prester 131, man. Where's my water, man? Drink some H2O, man. We slow down. Maybe I'm overdropping. I always have a couple tabs up. And sometimes I just belly flop just to let the ruach flow. You know what I mean? I don't like to be too orderly about it. I just like to let it flow. And it becomes a beautiful order, because I wasn't even going to share this link about the Enoch Khan until I really dug on it, but that was going to be the last tab that I pulled up, maybe around the 3-hour mark. Instead, I started with it. I started with the dismount. I just want to let y'all know, because y'all already know about the dismounts, man. So we popping off at the dismount in Prester 131, man. Come on, man. Hey, give it up to HaWah, because HaWah is connecting David with Genghis Khan. And again, once you establish Genghis as a real character, right, then we can build around something real. Because a bunch of people claim ancestry today from Genghis Khan. So if Genghis exists, the Prester gotta exist. You understand? You understand why we do this? Huh? And if you've been surfing the wave, you already know that Genghis Khan is a melanated man too, right? So they're in the same family now. They're not blood related, but according to the story, well, we'll get to it. Let's pull up a couple things. Just right quick, how do we get here? Belly flopping on Enoch Ben Khan, whose Christian name is John. Now, that's when they go into this naming flow, which, they say Prester John was killed by a Naaman, but they also say that the Naamans were friendly with the WANG Khan carried. So, I don't know. We don't know, right? It's a lot of things we don't know. That's why this is an investigation. We never proclaim to know anything. We keep emptying our cups from day one. Go pull up the playlist below and you'll see we've been belly flopping the whole time, man. All praise HaWah. So the Mongol flow has a David connection is all we was trying to, put out there. And as soon as you dig on, Genghis Khan, David, Prester, quotation, you get a few links, right? We get a wiki link. The link between Prester John and Genghis Khan was elaborated upon at this time as the Prester became identified with Genghis's foster father, ThaWaDa. Right. So that seems to me a big hit when we dig on the ThaWaDa flow. A Mongol name for King David or Prester John. And he's the foster father of Genghis. So they're not blood related. But he raised Genghis. Genghis's father and him was like best friends, like best homies. It's really how it went. They were like brothers, but they weren't brothers, but they were like brothers. They fought side by side in all the early wars. They helped each other. According to the story, the Prester, ThaWaDa, promised Genghis's pops that he'll look out for him, and he did. But Genghis got greedy. Genghis wanted to be a David. He wanted to marry into the David family by marrying one of Prester's daughters. And Prester had to check him like, look, man, I raised you, son. But now you're getting too big for your britches, man. Now you're tripping. You don't want to pay tribute to the Prester no more? Nah, Genghis wanted to be the Prester. That's how the story goes. Genghis wanted to be the Prester. He wanted to be the Khan. So now he has a David connection because he took the title David after defeating a King David. Now, David is a title, so we don't know which David, right? There's a few hard hits for the Davids. We've been digging on that from the top. They say the Prester John Genghis Khan War was around 1202, so you look at dates like this, 1195, it's right there in the mix, where there is a Prester John according to Genie.com. Also known as Raja Hiraja Chola II Jataran, Emperor of Suleiman, the Pandya. and his son is a David. Now, is this the David Genghis Khan wrote up on? After all this time digging on this, I don't know, but I believe this was the Prester or the David that they say was killed. So you got to ask the question, which David? Because when you go back in these genealogies, there's Davids before the Davids, there's more Davids. The further back you get, there's more Davids. So it's like the Bible's only giving us like a shade of the light spectrum of this David family. We're acting like David just came out of nowhere, anointed shepherd. Like, man, this David family, you know what I'm saying? And when is this biblical timeline, connected with this? Now we're getting into the Anatolia Flamenco, 3 major chronological time shifts, 300 years, right? 1,800 years, 1,000 years. And they're shifting time around so that the King David in the Bible, you think's popping off in the BCs. And it could easily be, and it probably is actually happening around this time. The Moses-Joshua period could be around 900, 1000 AD-ish, 1100 maybe, and it seems like the King David flow is coming around like this 1200 situation, 1300s, dark ages, right? And then Columbus finds the Prester, where he finds the people in America, right? According to the British Museum. Prester John, I know it's small and blurred. There's a lot clearer images, We'll also get back into the Straits of Anion book where this map came out of. And circa 1530, British Museum, India Superior, same old. They rolled up on the Prester shortly after, man. This more and more war was already in play with the Genghis flow. Genghis could easily be of the tribe of Moab. He could easily be a Moabite. And I believe he is a Moabite. I don't know. But, according to these different letters in the legend and sources book, it seems to be pointing to Moab in him, or one of the supreme divine confederacy, Psalm 83, so-called divine, royals, all this stuff, right? He was taken out by someone who looked like him, man. You gotta follow the Davids. Another hard-hit David the First, or Dewey. Dodi, like dodecahedron. Radon, like Mortal Kombat. King of Rubati, Reuben, Gadi, Gad, Manasseh, Khan. Because King David is king of all these tribes of Israel. Would they not be paying tribute? Would the scepter not be with Judah? Ain't that what it say in the book of Genesis? The scepter's always with Judah, because of King David. This is David the First. He's the husband of Lady Hannah, right? Circa 1200s, the same time period that we're digging on with David Soslan, or David Soslan's father, Prester John, you know what I'm saying? But all these will be Presters by titles and Davids by titles, and he would also be a David if his son is a David. Again, husband of Lady Hannah. One says 1195, the other says 1200. Coincidence, Manai? Or do we have a hard hit that this Prester is David, specifically David the First? 1200 now, right? Same Lady Hannah. And we got to do a whole drop on Lady Hannah because, she must be supreme team. And is this another name for the Bathsheba flow? Bathsheba. Would she also be a Sheba since Sheba's a title? Daughter of the Seven, daughter of the Oath, Shambhala. Let me get my water, man. Let me get my H3O. Is it a coincidence that this David and Hannah also have a son, Hanan, which is where they're getting Canaan or Canaan or Aniah, right? So you got to choose your Canaan because in the Hebrew flow we have our own Hanan, Anan, also called Kana, right? Let's go. So Hannah, son of David the first, or Hanan, right? And again, this Prester has a son, Hanan. Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. So, come on, man. So now we got this Hanan and this Hanan. Both of them, father. One is David, one is Prester John. Both of their mothers are Lady Hannah at the same damn time, right? One is 1222 now. Between 1205 and 1257. Like I don't know, 1222, boss. Brother of Solomon, right? Because King David has a son, Solomon, right? And he has a son, David the Sixth, XLR. In Babylon, that's America. You know what I'm saying? I like this. See, I like looking at them and finding shades of each other because they give more information on different ones. So now you factor in the lady queens, right? Princess Dara of Gad and Mani, or Gad and Manasseh. Then you got Princess Limbu of Rubadi, Gadi Mani. So these would also be the daughters of Prester John. But here they don't list the daughters. So if you want to see the daughters, you got to go to this Hannah. Both sons of David. Take my time, not overdropping. Keep telling myself that. What does this Radon have to do with the rodents, right? Like the rodents. Rodinia. House of Rhoda. All connected with the promised land again. Rodinia from the Russian. We're gonna talk Russians real soon. Cause Russia plays, right? Rodina, Raiden. This is dig on it. Could be something, could be nothing. But this Rodinia is a big deal. You dig? Because if you are the Radon king, then you're the king of the earth. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? That means you are the king of the motherland. Birdman and Rub. We're talking supercontinents now. They're saying 1 billion years ago, dodge the hijack. We're talking the earth, right? Broke up 750 million years, dodge the hijack. We're talking the earth pre-Cambrian supercontinent. We're talking Pangea now. Oh, it was renamed Rodinia. God, okay. Whether you talking Pan, whether you talking Rodinia, we're talking the earth, man. We're talking the motherland. Just keep this in mind when we talk Rodan. We could be talking Radan, right? You drop it too fast. So I forgot what led me to even digging on Enoch Binge Khan. What was I talking? Let's go back. Oh yeah, cause I've been digging on Baruch Khan, cause this Baruch Khan seemed to pop up before when I was digging on the Karakatai, the Chariot flow, right? Oh yeah, okay. Now it's coming back to me. So many layers to this investigation, man. And look how they have his religion as Nestorianism. And my wave servers know that the Nestor connects to old king renowned for wise counsel. It has nothing to do with their modern day Christianity, or else they would just say Christianity. They can't say these Mongols, which just means great ones, are Christians. So they say Nestorianism, which connects to an old king renowned for wisdom when you look it up. So what old king is renowned for wisdom that they're connecting the Nestor title? And shout out to the Khan Marley, rest in power Bob Marley. According to the movie, his name was also Nestor, right? Shout out to the Khan Zion. You already know, man. Look out for the Soulbone podcast. We did an amazing interview with Zion recently. We'll be dropping very, very soon, man. Expeditiously, man. So ThaWaDa to the Khan Zion, as well as the Khan Ma Jigga, MHOE Ma. We did a great sit down with the Khan. Soulbone podcast. Shout out to Ty Battle, Chris Battle, CJ Battle, man. You already know, Brother Nature, Aqua Sam, Chef Caddy. That's just a part of the crew. Shout out to the Khans, man, because it is truly where a Khan can be a Khan and have a conversation. So we look forward to talking to all y'all and just, just talking about what's on our Soulbone, man. Look out for us, man. All right. So at his father's death, I'm talking about Root because he's the younger son of Enoch, who they also call John, right? And he has a Shalak, he has a brother Tayang, okay? After his father's death, he split off with the faction of the Namans to rule just south of the Altai Mountains, Alta, right? We got an Altadena out here in Cali as well, near the source of the Ulangur River, while his brother Tayang remained in the heart of the Naman homeland between the Black Irtish and Buktarma rivers. He was present in Korlotai, where Jamuka was elected Gurkha. And to be elected Gurkha, you are being elected as the Khan. Universal ruler. Okay. Let's put this together. Like I said, Kurkhan is Gurkhan. Remember the C's and G's or K's are also interchangeable. This is the ruler. In 1201. Oh, we are on an investigation for fun, man. Hey, who is Prester, John? We having a good time. Jamuka does sound like Jamaica every time I see it. So he's present in the Korultai, where Jamuka, okay, that's their tribal flow, where they elect the Khans, right? And Jamuka was elected Gurkhan in 1201. And David Salsland or King David or A. Prester John was killed in 1202. Let's get these dates. Let's keep reading. According to a story, he, along with the Orat chief Kudukai Baki, used a Jada or thunderstone to unleash a powerful storm on Genghis' army. Come on, bro. Come on. Is this why they call us the Marvels, man? A prehistoric hand axe, stone tool. Yeah, really? Really? That's what he did? Or are we talking magical? Because it says the magical ploy backfired. So this gotta be magic. It's not just a hand axe, fools. It's magical. See how they playing us, man? We dissecting through hijack. Shout out Drop Nation, because it take a lot of patience to be here. You gotta really want it. You gotta really want it to be in this classroom, man. We don't do it for the numbers, man. Please believe. Man, we do it for the investigation, man. We do it for the cons. We do it for the energy, frequency, and vibration. We do it for our creator, Halal HaWah. We do it for the Shabbat. So we take our time. This is crazy. We don't hear the story nowhere else, man. But we got to understand what's happening with the Mongol flow, because the Mongol flow is the Hebrew flow. This is what we're getting to. They took the Hebrew history and they spliced it in all these ways. It's the Mongol history. It's probably the Chinese history too, since this is China. It's the native history, but with the high tech factoring in Atlantis, but ain't no greater investigation than, obviously your investigation into keeping the code. First you got to seek HaWah, Hosea 3. But in terms of Atlantis and Fountain of Youth, all this stems under the investigation of David, man, because you're talking about the one shepherd. So when they say thunderstorms and he used a Jada, I don't know what a Jada is, but it had to be magical, because the magical ploy backfired when an unexpected wind blew the storm back at Kudaka. Baruch, troubled by the storm, left the alliance and retreated to the south side of the outer mountains. He was soon attacked by Cariates led by Tagru. In 1202. In Managa. Yeah, so you remember this, right? We putting the story, the Mongol history together, connecting it with the Hebrews' history in America, man. Because I clicked Tagru, right? Tagru, also known as Wang Khan, right? And the Wang became the Wang Khan. The Wang, W-A-N-G, became the Wang. And like a magic wand. Whoa. Oh. Don Magic Wand. Woo. The bishop. Okay. What does the Prester Magi have to do with the magic wand? Oh, it's getting magical. Ong, so Wang became Wang, which became John. You dig? This is why old boy is called John, the father of Baruch, all right? Enoch, all right? Or Ong, all right? Or Unk, all right? Was a Khan of the Cariates. Khan, just like American, historic Mongolic Turkic title originating among the nomadic tribe. We're just talking about the ruler or the king. Noble title. The highest noble title, right? So the Gur Khan is the Khan. The Wang Han. That's why you got to dig on the Han Dynasty, because the Han Dynasty is still the Khan. The Chan, like Jackie Chan, is still the Khan. And the American is still the Amaru Khan. The Khan is present when anything to do with law, priesthood, just like chancery or consory or a conjugal visit, or you want to reconcile with somebody, you want to convince somebody of something, right? Then they turn it into pros and cons and made it wicked or evil when the Khan is the priest. It's the Han. The Khan of the Cariates are the Kara Katai, and the Katai is Cathay. And Cathay, my niggas, is right here on the map in India Superior with you and me. next to Florida, next to Mexico, right? China, which is Mexico. Cathay is Cathay. The R stands for regnum, which means kingdom, Managa. Like the Tangut, Tangut, regnum, which means kingdom. And this is where they say Genghis Khan and Prester John had their initial battle, right here. And then, you know, Genghis Khan and them, took over whatever they was taking over. So you have Native American tribes, or you know, uh, Nagas that are a part of their indigenous tribes, and some of them go directly to Genghis Khan and this invasion in 1200s. Yeah, you've been in America for hundreds of years, but that doesn't mean you're from here, right? A hijack can move into your house for 1,000 years and live in your house and keep you in the basement. But that don't mean it's their house. It ain't the hijack house, and neither is India Superior, the land of Genghis Khan, or Atlantis, because Atlantis was hijacking India Superior, was hijacking Mu, Managa. Atlantis and their gods were hijacking the promised land. This ain't Atlantis. This ain't your Maxim. This ain't Morocco. This is the superior India, Managa. This is the superior land. This is Cathay. This is promised land. This is Jerusalem. This is Judah. This is what they call Israel. And even in the ancient maps, Moab was always right there next to Israel. So why wouldn't Morocco have set up shop right here next to the children of Israel? But that don't mean this is Morocco. We're talking Cathay, Tangut, India, China, Florida, Cathay. And that's where you get the Kara Katai, or they also call it the Black Cathay. Because they say Kara means black, right? I mean, come on, man. Come on, Managa. Just want to make sure we're speaking facts here. So, Black Cathay, Kara Katai. I mean, there's plenty of links you can dig on it, but March of the Barbarians, let's see if they bring us right to it. Sometimes they like for us to go find a bunch of stuff. Sometimes it brings right to it. I don't know. They just kind of led me to a book, I guess. They led me to a book. But it has to do with Genghis Khan. See that? Could be some drop, though. Y'all let me know. Man, there was another link that I used to always get on this Black Cat thing. But you know how they be taking link down, man. But we see what we see. The Karakatai is the Black Cat thing. I was just trying to find a specific link, but I can't be picky. Because, yeah, this is what they like to do. Just dump you in here, man. Say, hey, go for it, man. Y'all tripping. Cut. Oh, let me do this. So we're going to get to some of this Prester Genghis David connection. Try to see if I can get this link this way. Black Cathay. Prester John. Make it easy. Car. Spell it different way. Ping pal. Sometimes Managa, you just gotta have faith. Wow, just gotta have faith. Trying to find these links is like digging through skeletons and bodies, trying to find somebody that's still breathing because they kill so many links. Is all I'm saying. You got to go to the abyss. You know what I'm saying? But it leads us to another great document on Prester John. To be someone who didn't exist, there sure is a lot of historical documentation on Prester John, and this one is called The Historical Prester John by Charles E. Nowell, W or Nowell. Shout out to JStore.org. And they belly flopped us on this page, which seems like it got some drop on it. Let's dig on it, man. Uh, 1953. All right. Man or myth, Prester John played a great role from the 12th century until well after the discovery of America. You see how they just put Prester John in your mind bone next to the discovery of America, right? India superior, remember that. He was an established part of the European pattern of thought as a potential Christian ally, yeah, right, in the rear of the Muslim foe. He figured in plans for the later Crusades and thus had a place in European ideas of world strategy. They they needed Prester John. When they factored in world strategy, they had to factor that around the Prester, man, these Europeans. By entering the calculations of both Henry the Navigator and Columbus, Prester John was entered in the calculations of Henry the Navigator and Christopher Columbus, Jack. He helped to inspire the great geographical discoveries. Who did? We just talking Prester John. Did you know? Is this part of Black History Month? Hell no. Naga History Month is every day in our house. You know what I mean? But this con was entered into the calculations of both Henry the Navigator and Christopher Columbus. The con Prester John King David was entered into the geographical, inspired the great geographical discoveries. For who's discovering things? They're discovering you, Manai. They finding us here. Papu Boo, Doom Diverses. This is recent history, man. Still later, amid conditions that had ceased to be medieval, he was a factor in the hopes and plans of Emperor Charles V. Shout out to Unfiltered History 144. On IG dropping this drop. I was just digging on it today. And it's great. The visuals are amazing because you can just take somebody right to it and the picture is worth 1,000 words. Oh, Black ass King Charles strikes again. Let me just let those play, man. I can't believe it. Charles I of Spain. Holy Roman Emperor, my naga. Columbus found us in 1492, they say. All these Hebrews were kicked out of Spain, right? 1492. You saying during that time, nobility was still black? And I mean wicked. Because these were the ops, you know what I'm saying? They're trying to steal the land, steal the promised land. Well, this is all a picture of Charles V, Holy Roman Emperor, King of Spain, Charles I of Spain, who by birth already held sway over much of Europe and Spanish America, elected the successor of his late grandfather, Holy Roman Emperor Maximilian I, Charles, who was also the grandson of Ferdinand II and Isabella of Spain, who Columbus originally was dealing with, right? Huh? My naga? Let me throw this laptop. Drop gonna go crazy. No, man, I'm not gonna go crazy. I'm already crazy. It's crazy, man. So Ferdinand and Isabella, who Columbus was writing to, this is his grandson, their grandson, which means that Ferdinand and Isabella were copper-colored people, which means Columbus was also a melanated man. And this tribe of melanated people were probably Moab in there, whoever you want to call the Confederacy. Psalms 83. The biblical history is playing out in recent times right in front of us. And when we look at Tecumseh, the Hebrew Tecumseh, 1811, 1812, he was murdered. That tribal war was still biblical tribes against each other. Tecumseh tried to tribe us up for our last Israelite or mixed multitude fight against the worst of the hijack. And these people look just like us. The Chickamauga had to fight against the Choctaw. Can you see what that looked like? Because one was on one side of the treaty, one was on the other side. Didn't want to make no treaty. Not all Choctaw, I'm saying. These leaders at this time, everyone had terrible leaders at times. Israel had plenty. So no one could fault anybody today. I'm saying this is how the war played out. More and more. The grandson of Isabella and Ferdinand, Spain, had bribed the princes of Germany to vote for him, defeating such formidable candidates as King Henry VII, or VIII, of England, King Francis I of France, and Frederick the Wise, the Duke of Saxony. Crowned as Emperor Charles V, the new Holy Roman Emperor, sought to unite the many kingdoms under his rule in the hope of creating a vast, universal empire like a Maxim boss. Like a Maxim boss, you want to be universal? Like Atlantis? Oh, Rome, right? This is all this Rome talk. How Rome is spread everywhere, greatest empire. These niggas is who was ruling the Rome, man. And the Rome is just a Romani. Act like I'm playing, boss. Act like a naga playing, man. The Rimon is the Hebrew word for pomegranate. Hebrew word of the day. Who had to find the pomegranates to prove that they in the promised land? We're talking Caleb, we're talking Joshua. I'll be back to talking Joshua. HaWah, ThaWaDa, the Mormon flow. Mormons digging deeper. Come on, man, stop playing. Yeah, this link, they changed this link a lot, man. It's bit by bit, they just take it down. Like at this point, don't even say nothing no more. It used to have so much drop on this joint. Yeah, we out of here, boss. You see what it is. You see what it is. These people crazy. Look at this. Let's find a better one. Cause you can't stop the flow. Halal HaWah. Let's go. Let's go. Let's make it. Yeah. Remind him. Remind him. Remind Morocco. Always trying to steal the flow. In Hebrew, the word rima. They turned this to Roman in Rome. Dodge the vowels. This is Rome. Just like there's a Rome, Georgia, right? Yeah. It's interesting that there's a Rome, Georgia. Just look it up. Rome, Georgia. And Prester John's son, David's soul slang, it's over Babylon and Georgia. We're thinking Georgia, Russia, and we are talking the Rus. So that's not incorrect, but these Rus, this is their native lands, right? So this Georgia here is the Georgia. And even before their hijack King George, there were Israelite, good King Georges, so it was really named after a good, a ThaWaDa, as we say in Hebrew, a good Khan, then became the other Georges later. You just got to separate the Georges, separate the Davids. I'll get back to Genghis Khan being called David all of a sudden after he robs the Khan and steals the Khan, steals the title David, but we're just talking Georgia. We're just talking Georgia. It's okay. All right, so they took the Rome, the Rima, which just means pomegranate, connected to the promised land, and this became their flow. Georgia on my mind, right? Like there's a Rome, Georgia, now there's a Rima. So this Rome situation is Romani, and they're just trying to claim the title of the promised land because they want a universal empire. However, his hopes were thwarted by the Protestant Reformation in Germany. All swarthy knockers, right? We know this. A lifelong dynastic struggle with King Francis and the advance of the Ottoman Turks into Europe. And really, these Ottoman Turks are still Moors, so you know uh, it gets real detailed. Who's really who, right? 1558, after nearly 4 decades as Holy Roman Emperor, Charles abdicated the throne in favor of his brother Ferdinand. So this must be little Ferdinand. He had already granted much of the other European territory under his rule to his son Philip. So, way later on, finally in 1558, black ass King Charles gives up the throne to Ferdinand. And he's a grandson of the big Ferdinand. So all these are niggas, right? Or, niggas, right? All these are niggas. All right. Charles suffered from an enlarged lower jaw. All right. a congenital deformity that became considerably worse in later Habsburg generations, giving rise to the term Habsburg jaw. This deformity may have been caused by the family's long history of repeated intermarriages between close family members, as commonly practiced in royal families of that era to maintain dynastic control of territory. Some advisors considered him physically weak and used that as a reason for him to delay his marriage to Mary Tudor. I don't know if you've seen the HBO series The Tudors, but go dig on it, all right? A diplomatic a diplomat in Charles's court described him as not much of a womanizer and did not have out of wedlock children during his marriage. He suffered from fainting spells, which might have been epilepsy. He was seriously affected with gout, presumably caused by a diet consisting mainly of red meat. Columbus had the same gout situation, which we tied to syphilis or cynocephaly. Cynocephalis. So when you look at this Charles here, man, just we've been so double, triple hijacked now that they can't even let the man be melanated no more. I mean, without him, they wouldn't even be in America. But now they got him looking like this. Now they got Charles looking like this. Same little Christian cross, shining right. Look at how they iconoclast it. Look up iconoclast. Look at how they iconoclast it. Again, shout out to history, historical sources 144, as well as unfiltered history 144, man. Damn, look at this, man. So this is what we got now. They made the Naga Atahualpa, Huwalpa, the Inca. They made him look more like a traditional Native American, right? Lighten up his skin. They lighten up Charles. They transform Charles, right? Look at this. If there was nothing to see here, boss, you wouldn't be doing all this trickery. But the fact that y'all did this lets us know that there's something here to dig on, and we gotta investigate. Cause what are you hiding, boss man? Why can't you just show what Charles looked like? Why? Because then you show what Rome looks like. You're hiding what Rome looks like, what Europe looks like, what the Portuguese look like, what the Spaniards are really looking like. And now we got to ask the question, where did all these, respectfully, where did all the replacements come? Like, when did this happen? Why is there a new face of Rome and a new face of, like, what war took place that took over these people? All I'm seeing is the war from them against us. What war took place that now all these black royals got mixed up? Really? Y'all think that's what happened, or did they just go somewhere else? Or did they go under the table and make it look like the so-called white man was behind everything? So that now we got a straw man. We can blame the white man for everything. And he's just getting in where he fit in. Still with the wickedness of his predecessors. But now there's not a face to put on the real opposition. And the real opposition looks just like us. Because it's tribal war and it's biblical war. But now they whitewashing it. Right 144. Now they whitewashing it. Now he's supposed to be the Inca king coming to take over the red man. ThaWaDa. You got a lot of drop on this page. Unfiltered history, man. He's showing a lot of this iconoclasms, man. 16th century depiction of Maurice, Elector of Saxony. All this is 1500s. Look how they changing, man. What are y'all hiding? You don't want to show us what Europe really looks like, what Israel really looks like, the Hebrews really look like, America really looks like, Egypt really looks like. Hyksos, right? Supposed to be the shepherds. 6 kings, right? Charles II. I don't know what's going on here. William the Silent. Clearly a Naga. Clearly a Naga. Crazy. These people crazy. I'm trying to tell y'all. Yeah, I'm gonna come back here, but right now we're focusing on Black ass King Charles, man. We're gonna stay right here on your ass, man. We on your ass, King Charles. Who is Prester, John? Y'all already know. Alright, this is fun. So, King of Spain. Okay. Alright. Alright. I'm just trying to game plan this because it's about to get, you know what I mean? You already know how we do. Make sure we have time for all this. We got it. Okay. Got some good drop. Let's check our time. We good? Okay. So Wang Kong was the name given to Togrul by Gurkhan or Gurchin led Jin dynasty. Wait, back it up. Togrul, we're gonna get back on that. Also known as Wang Kong or Ong Kong, was the Khan of the Karids, right? We've been talking about that's what got us to the Black Cat thing. Right. I was wondering where we were. Alright. So that got us to the Black Cat thing. He was the blood brother of Anda, meaning two or more people not related by birth who have sworn loyalty to each other as a blood oath. So Prester John had a blood oath with the Mongol chief Yesugui, which of course don't look like this. All right, use your imagination. Yesugui is the father of Temujin, who is Genghis Khan. So story is, the Prester took in Genghis, and Genghis wanted to get more. He wanted more, right? From the Borodin family, and his name means like 9. Interesting. He had auspicious qualities of the number 9. Ain't that something? They know something. We know something. So Genghis's pops and Togrul were close. They were they had a blood oath connection to protect each other, and served as an important early patron and ally of Yasugui's son Temujin, known as Genghis Khan. So Wang Kong, Prester John, and Genghis were cool. And if Genghis lived, so did Wang Kong. But now we can actually, this Mongol history ties in a lot of the missing pieces, man. Because Genghis Khan is real, right? All right. So his foster pops, his uncle, call him Big Uncle, that's who he went to war with. And later, they said Baruch, I think, was then named Khan. But the war is happening in 1202. WANG Khan was the name given to Tagru by Gur Khan-led Jin dynasty of China. We gotta dig on the Jins. Wang means king or prince. During the 13th century, Tagru was one of several Asian leaders who was identified with the legend of Prester John. And that's going to connect you back to the founding of youth. Why not? You see how we did that? We went to the Mongol history to connect to Prester John this time. Or we can talk Israelite history and talk King David. And David rising again, Jeremiah 30, Hosea 3, search for HaWah and King David. Ezekiel 37, David is one shepherd forever. Now you see. Because you're talking about magical nesters, magi. Christians say JC gonna rise again. HaWah said, David, whom I will raise up to you. We're talking latter days. But only JC could rise up, right? I thought Elijah gonna come back. Prester John, but also King David. So, the Saint Tagru was one of several Asian. Where's Asia, boss? Where's Asia? Let me pull the maps up. This is Asia. This is India Superior. Leaders who was identified with the legend of Prester John. So Tagru is identified with Prester John, but also King David. Ping pow. And this is why Genghis Khan, as we started searching, has this David connection to him. Because he went to war against Big David. And he took the title Khan. Or he went to war against Little David and took the title David. David Soslan. You know what I'm saying? A brother to John. Or we're talking John himself. But who else is called John, right? We just got that before. So although the Carians converted to Nestorianism, a sect of Christianity, so this is all capital. Although they did convert a lot of, Indians to Christianity, right? And India Superior, where they found you, right? And Mongol just means the great ones, right? So by chance, is the Indians the Mongols? And is the Mongol the Hebrew, the great ones, and India Superior? Could this be the East and not the West? Could they have flipped your map, man? And who's this Jamuka, man? Didn't we get something about Jamuka and the swords of the East? We got to get that again. Back to Baruch, what happened? 11th century, all right, there is no credible proof that Tagru was himself Christian. Uh-oh. As Mongolian sources say nothing about his religion because we're talking a Hebrew Khan. He was no Christian boss. That's why they're calling him a Nestor. Prester John wasn't no Christian Jack. There's no credible proof that Prester was a Christian. He was born around 1130 to a Nestorian. Again, they keep using that word, right? It's a sect of Christian. No, it's not. It's what you want to put on them because you're looking for King David in them. And you know that has something to do with the Old Testament. So you want to put it out there like we believe the same thing because you know we the people of the old or the real, the real order. We the people of the real order, man. And since you talk about us in Christianity, you want to say, oh, we're Christians too because you talk about us. You clout chasing off our name. Doing a lot of talking. Let's go. Born around 1130 to Nestorian families of the Carians. Back to the Karakata. His father was Kyriacus. I don't know. Baruch Khan. So back to Baruch Khan. So Tagru's father was also either the Baruch Khan or a Baruch Khan. Ain't that something? All right, so there's a couple of Baruch Khans, right, that we dealing with. We got the Baruch Khan. Let's go back. Let's take it slow. Come back. All right, we'll come back here to Jamuka now. So we got this Baruch Khan and his father is the Enoch Benj, who's also called Jah. Okay, right. Christian name was Jah. And John's son, Baruch Khan, was attacked by the Karians led by Tagru. So although they called him John and they were calling themselves Khan, it's kind of like in the scriptures how, these other nations will be crowning their own kings, right? They're crowning their own Khans, right? Their own Johns. They're calling themselves Johns and Khans, right? Right. But this John's son, Baruch Khan, is attacked by Prester. Got you. Got you. And this is why he was named Gur Khan. This is why he was elected Gur Khan in 1201. Because his story is, we was attacked by Tagru in 1202. In reality, the Prester was rode up on by Genghis. So you're seeing two sides of it. In alliance with Genghis on shores of. Okay, so he was attacked while he was in alliance with Genghis. So as we get back into this Jamuka flow, we're seeing where the alliances are. All right. So this Enoch Ben Khan, his brother Tayin, and his son Baruch Khan, who was later named Khan, at least of this particular area or whatever it is, in alliance with Genghis on shores of Sokuk, Kop, Usan River. Caught unprepared, Baruch fled and crossed Altai. So while Genghis rode up on Tagru's over there pushing the line, and he catches Baruch slipping. Right? This is after Genghis already rose up on Tagru or the Prester. Baruch gets caught slipping. He fled and crosses the Alta Mountains, arriving at Ungar River. Are we seeing the story, Manag? Baruch's general Kosei Sabrak attacked Togro, who moved away from Genghis, defeated Togro's son, Sengun, capturing his son and wife. Okay. Birdman hand rub. So in the book of Daniel, yeah, I'm going there. When there's Nebuchadnezzar, right? Which just means Nebo, defend my boundaries. Nebuchadnezzar, he captures Daniel. We learn later that Daniel is Gilead, who is a son of David. I'm just comparing stories. Chill out, right? Gilead, Daniel. So Gilead is only mentioned a couple times by name, but he's also called Daniel, who was the second son of David, king of Israel. Why is this important? Because Daniel is David's bond, his son. And the Bible don't teach it that way, right? You never ever get the comparison or the connection that Daniel in the book of Daniel is King David's son, and now it's giving you a little hard or big hard hit on the chronology of Daniel. And this Nebuchadnezzar, and is Nebuchadnezzar or Nebo defend my boundaries? Is that Genghis Khan, right? Titles, and did Genghis kidnap the Prester's son and wife, or his son's wife? Similar to Daniel being captured, and still because he's the Prester's son, he's still treated well, yada yada, right? Genghis is not completely savage. You're gonna start killing off the family, but it is what it is. It's war. Daniel, second son of David, right? He was David's son with third wife Abigail, widow of Nabal the Carmelite, mentioned in 1 Chronicles 3:1 and 2 Samuel 3:3. Unlike the other of David's elder sons, Amnon, Absalom, and Adonijah, who were important characters in 2 Samuel, Caleb is only mentioned in the king and the list of David's sons, and no further mention is made of him. Why? Why they go quiet? Because it's connecting the fact that the book of Daniel is connecting with this Genghis-Mongol flow. I think Genghis kidnapped the Prester's son, women, all that, Then they married into these women so that they can be proper, right? Proper. They were tired of being muster rabs, right? Putting Drop Nation, we putting our story together. Now you got to go back to Eber to understand it, because Hebrew comes from Eber, like Iberia, right? Yeah, because it's the progenitor of the 13 Arabic tribes. But we're not talking about anything outside the house of the Hebrew, right? Or outside of the lineage of these Hebrews, from Jacob all the way back to Eber and yada yada. So these Arabic tribes were dealing with the Arab proper. And there was a difference between the Arab propers than non-Arab stock. And to be a true Arabic or Arab, you have to be a rabbi, Khan. And a rabbi is a Khan, right? A lawgiver, a priest. You gotta be popping the right code. You can't be remixing the code and say you're Arabic, because now you're pretending to be Arab. You're adopting a rabbi customs. You're remixing the Old Testament. You're changing the Sabbath day. No power before my power. You put a new power in, and now you're intermarrying with genuine Arabs, right? Genghis took the wives, right? Prester's not going to give me his daughter to marry. I'm going to take all his daughters. I'm going to take his wives. We're going to intermarry, and then we'll be genuine rabbis or khans. Now he's Genghis Khan. He don't want to be musty no more. And Joktan is Catan, which is also connected with Cathay or Cateo. C's and K's. And Caleb is the second son of King David. And though being the second son, Caleb was not a contender for the throne of Israel, even after the death of the firstborn Amnon, the thirdborn Absalom, and fourthborn Adonijah. He may have died before his father. Later rabbinic traditions name him as one of the 4 Israelites who died without sin. Not Jesus, sinless Jesus. Oh no. There's 4 ancient Israelites who were sinless, meaning they kept the code from beginning to end, man. No killing on their brother, no stealing on their brother, no power for the power. They kept their Shabbats, no covetous in their heart bone, no false witnessing on their brother, their sister. For real, for real. So one of them is David's dad, Jesse. And you take this Yeshai, you take Jesse, and you reverse the S and the E, and you get Jesus. Father of David. He was sinless. Ancestor of Jesus. Oh, they did it. They did it. See how they hijack? But Jesus is supposed to be an immaculate conception, right? Born of a virgin. So you can't be the seed of Jesse if you're born of a virgin, Jack. You're the son of God. Why not be the son of God? Why do you got to cloud chase off the name of David? Why you got to tie yourself into the throne of David if you're not the seed of Jesse or David? You're an immaculate conception, born of a Virgin Mary, right? Why? What do you have to do with the seed of David? Huh? Oh, you got something to do with Jesse, the sinless Jesse. 4 ancient Israelites who died without sin: Benjamin, Jesse, and Amram, who's Moses' pops. Moses' pops was sinless. David's pops was sinless. So they're coming from the loins of sinlessness when you talk King David. When you talk Moshe. Let's go. So Solomon got the throne. We know that. So Gilead is known as Daluya in 2 Samuel in the Septuagint. According to Rashi, rabbinic rabbi or Arab. Right. Arabic. We're talking Arab proper. Because it added that Ishmael married a woman of the tribe of Gerhum or the Gurkhan. Right? They had to marry into the Gerhum. They had to marry into the Khan. Another son of Catan who was called Gerhum. So they had to marry into Joktan. They had to marry into the sons of Hebrew to be proper Arabs because they were of non-Arab stock. Now they migrating, right? Now they migrating. Setting up Morocco around Illinois and Indiana. You had to marry into the tribe of who? Gerhum, son of Catan or Katai. So the Katai are the Karaites, the Karaites. We're talking rabbis, Arabia. We're talking proper. Rabbi Isaac said that some questioned whether Abigail was pregnant with David or her first husband, Nabal. Therefore, God arranged that Gilead would resemble David. So Daniel resembled David so much. It is possible his name Gilead, which can be translated perfection of his father, is a reference to that legend. So Daniel resembled David so much that he's called the perfection of his father. And in the book, right, Daniel is being held hostage, but he's also being crowned like king, in a sense, by Nebuchadnezzar, right? You got Shalmaneser, all that stuff, right? So you got the whole Persian flow, which is the Babylonian flow. And we're still just talking about Babylon, right? Persia, right? Put it together. Prester John, David, the legend. All right. All right. Okay. Okay, boss. Slow down. I'm just saying. They captured his son and wife in process. This is Prester. This is David. Big David. His son and wife were captured by Genghis or Shalmaneser or Nebuchadnezzar. These are titles. Following Baruch's defeat in 1202, he joined forces with carrier Prince Jaka Gambu Jamuka, whoa, Toktoka, chief of the Merkids, Kaduka, see? He joined forces with a whole confederacy, Psalms 83. However, he was ambushed by Genghis' forces while hunting in 1206. Damn. You talking about, tribal war, man. His nephew Kugluk then took over the naming leadership. So it gets complicated with who's on what side. I guess it depends on what they're getting out of it at this point. But in 1202, it was going all the way up. Let's go back. They got thunderstorms. They got magic popping off. They got the Jamuka flow. 1201. Who's this Jamuka, right? Because you see people getting backdoor. Jamuka had resumed hostilities against Temujin or Genghis Khan, an impressive coalition of Mongol tribes of Takud, Ikris. All right, it's a bunch of tribes. Bunch of tribes, right? Tribal war, right? More and more, right? So they recognize Jamuka as the Khan Universal or the Gur Khan, right? Tagru decided to back Temujin in order to oppose growing power of Jamuka. And also just remember the Gur Khan is really coming from, where do we get um, this Gurhun, who's the son of Katan. They had to marry into the tribe of Gurhun, right? And now the Gurhun became the top title, the Gur Khan. They had to intermarry with genuine rabbis. So they recognized Jamuka as universal Khan. Tagru decided to back Temujin in order to oppose growing power of Jamuka. This is the backstory before it went up between Genghis and the Prester John. So Tagru decided to back Genghis at first, right? So they were rocking, right? In order to oppose growing power of Jamuka, Tagru, Jaka, Gambu, and Temujin went into the valley called the Kurlan Valley with 15,000 men. When they saw the enemy, they climbed the mountains because they were short-handed against the enemy. It was also when Baruch Khan joined Jamuka, right? So they had their thing, right? Tagru and Temujin fought a defensive battle which was very difficult and perilous. Torrential rain made the rolling hills and mountains. Men fell from the top to finish in crevices and ravines. After the enemy had withdrawn his forces, Tagru left to return to Tula River. Don't we got a Tulan in the indigenous flow with his warriors? Temujin took advantage of the flight of his enemies, as we just read about, to finish several on horseback. getting it in, right? Targutai was reportedly wounded to death as a result of the fight. Jamuka had fared badly during the first attack, and Baruch Khan took command of the armies in 1202. Temujin took the initiative to make the massacre among the Tatar, which dramatically reduced their numbers. So Temujin made a massacre among the Tatar. So this was a Tartar on Tartar war at this point. Genghis and Tagru returned to the mountains, but this time in the southern portion, and faced the newly commanding Ku Ku Kujudens, man. Among them were Merkit, South Naaman, Orit, and tribes following Jamuka. So Jamuka had to drop now. 6 tribes had left Jamuka, and there were only 4. Again, steep slopes, trees, and various natural obstacles greatly slowed down the enemies of Tagru and Temujin, and the fight gradually grew favorable. Right, and it keeps going. So now it says Tagru was more than 70 years old by 1203 and did not have the same reflexes as in his youth. His son Ilga Sengun took command of the Kariat armies. This could be David Salson right here. And Tagru became a figurehead. Ambitious Ilga joined forces with Jamuka, Altan, Kutkar, who persuaded him to eliminate Temujin. Ilga attempted to assassinate him, failed, and then confronted the hordes of Temujin in a fierce battle in which he was wounded. Tagru was present and assumed command, but he was more or less unable to fight himself, given his advanced age, and withdrew his men from the fight. Some Kariatists joined the forces with Temujin during and after the battle. I don't know if this is the story, Monaga, but this is a story, all right? So after this battle, the Battle of the Burning Sands. Whoa, we got to dig on that. The Battle of the Burning Sands fought between Genghis Khan, then known as Temujin, and the forces of Tagru, Khan and the Kariats. So this is when it went up in the Battle of the Burning Sands with Genghis Khan and Prester John. Temujin received the help of the Kongirites, who had confronted him during the first battle of the Karelin, and then fled to Jamuka. Tagru and Ilga, however, were still more numerous. Temujin sent ambassadors to demand peace, as he wished to renew his friendship with Tagru. Ilga, now choosing for his father, rejected the request. Other tribes joined Temujin during that year. He was then in possession of 11 tribes, even formed a third of the whole population of Mongolia. Imagine this as, an Israelite on Israelite, or Israelite on, Moab, and, all the other tribes, right? So, how does this play in the biblical story, right? So this is interesting because it brings the biblical story really, man, to 1080p, man, right? So as the enemy increased in number, Jamuka, Qatar, Altan conspired against Tagru, but eventually left the Kariat to take refuge with the Naaman of the north, the Tayukut, do my best, man, Kataji, and Saljut followed them. He died after Temujin attacked the Kariats by surprise. So let's see, okay. 8,000 Mongol horsemen faced Kariats for 3 days, but eventually Kariats surrendered. Tagru fled to Tayankang. Interesting, because he was the brother, right? Tayankang is the brother of, he's also the son of Enoch, Bilngi, who was called John, right? But I guess they weren't rocking together or something. So Prester said, hey man, I'm gonna rock with his bro. But he was killed by a Naaman soldier named Corey Subiksi, who did not recognize him. Whoa. So the same Prester was taken out by friendly fire. Was he backdoored or was he not recognized? You tell me. The majority of the Karis allied themselves with Genghis Khan, right? So a lot of them flipped. Tagru's head was later noticed by Taiyang, who was panicked and then stepped on it, crushing it. Tagru's head was later noticed by Taiyang, who was panicked and then stepped on it and crushing it. It's crazy, man. He was married to a Khatan woman. Khatan is Cathay, and you know where China is, and you know where Asia is. Don't make me pull the maps out. And we will be talking Russia for the dismount. And notice how they said Khatan, just like we just read about the Choctaw, right? And the genuine Arabs, the Arab proper, the Khatan, right? Choctaw in Arabic literature bears the name Khatan. We're just talking the sons of Eber, right? Sheba, Ophir, Havala. We're not talking Muslim this. We're not talking Islam this. When we talk Arabic, we're talking rabbis, lawgivers, and the proper ones, the Khatan. The Khatan. He married a Khatan woman. So these are all women, that connected back with the Choctaw, the Eber flow. So it says, I guess Tagru or the Prester was married to a Arab proper, a genuine Rabbi, right? Had at least two sons, Ilga, Singum, and Yuku. Right? Starting from 15th century, Torgut nobles claimed descent from Tagru. That's like claiming descent from Prester John or, King David. You know what I'm saying? So we definitely got to dig on the Torgut because it sounds like Tangu, where the war first took place, right? Right quick, and again, who's Jamuka again? That was something we noticed in the book Swords of the East. If I still got it up here. Kaka. Right. The failure of the envoys he had sent to Prester John to return had decided Genghis Khan that war with the Karis was unavoidable, and the master of the horde, once his mind was made up, had moved at once toward Tangu, right? And Tangu's right here on the map in 1548, next to you. India Superior, Florida, right? Mexico, Tangu. So they moved at once toward Tangu. We're talking Genghis Khan, putting separate substantiating sources together. Moved at once toward Tangu, following the northern edge of the sandy desert where his horses would find grazing. Genghis Khan had sent Chip Noying to the well to find Berta and bring the gypsy girl to him. He trusts me, he said the tiger moodily, although I am a Kari, but it is not fitting that I should command a Tuman in the coming battle between Prester John and Genghis Khan. I do not understand why my people have taken up the sword. How did the messengers from the three rivers perish? Why did Jamuka take his stand beside Prester John? Jamuka, right? So it was quite confusing, you know. Jamuka took his stand beside Prester John at one point, and at another point seemed to be going against him. Prester and Genghis Khan used to rock side by side, but at some point they had each other's neck bone, right? Now Jamuka's in for the takeover. I can see a little both of treachery and trickery, but if Genghis Khan is on the march, there's little time to learn the truth. So since you came nearly due south to the well, the Mongols must be as near to Tangu as we. If you are faithful to Temujin, you should ride at once, or you should ride to Tangu, right? On Jamuka's trail, I was sent to find Berta and bring her all safely, and that I will do. Berta had saved Mingan's life, and he knew now that the wayward girl of Genghis Khan to venture in the camp of Jamuka's army after her would be to search for one grain of sand in the desert. Their only recourse was to seek an audience with the Prester John in the castle of Tangu, dodge the hijack. They had to seek an audience with Prester John in the castle of Tangu to put their case before him, since he alone had power to overrule Jamuka. They had to seek an audience with the Prester in the castle of Tangu. Okay, it's getting spicy. Almost at the dismount season, man. All right, so even though we started with the dismount, right? So, all right, the castle of Tangu, all right. He explained this to Chief Noyan, who was only half convinced yet. In the time of my father Mingan and his father, no one of our village had seen the face of Prester John. He has lived 12 times 100 years. He is a magician, boss. They're saying he was already alive for 1,200 years. David, one shepherd forever, fountain of youth. We're gonna get some of that drop for the dismount. Let's go. Best dismount of all time. Let's get it. Huh? How did Prester John stay alive for 1,200 years, boss? He is a magician. Now we're talking magical things, right? Now we're talking magi. But let's get back in the battle of the sands, man. Right quick, right quick. Battle of the burning sand. The battle of the Kalakalijid sands. Fought between Genghis Khan, then known as Temujin, and the forces of Togrul Khan of the Katan, right? The Cariot elites, deeply suspicious of Temujin's diplomatic overtures to Togrul, had convinced their leader to turn on his vassal. Warned by two herdsmen, Temujin had escaped a planned ambush, but was pursued by a larger force. His Mongol allies came to his aid at the Kalajit Sands. Right, so everyone has a story. Everyone has a side of the story, right? So they were comprehensively defeated following the battle in which Temujin's 17-year-old son Ogedei was severely wounded. Temujin swore the Belajuna covenant with his companions. What's that? The Belajuna covenant was an oath sworn in mid-1203. That's right, when they defeated the Prester John in America, boss. The Khan of the Mongol tribe. So he's the new Khan in 1203. And the future Genghis Khan and a small group of companions, subsequently known as the Balun or Baljunatu, Temujin had risen in power in the service of the Karya Khan Tagru. Hold up. It's getting cooked. During the late 12th century, early 1203, Tagru was convinced by his son Sengjun that Temujin's proposal of a marriage alliance between his and their families was an attempt to usurp their power. Of course it was. Of course it was, because they are marrying in to be genuine Arab. Then you can enter the Arabic flow later. But who was the first to speak Arabic? Yarub was the first person who spoke Arabic. Who was Yarub's father? Choctaw, son of Eber. So the first Arab is coming right out of Eber, man. Had nothing to do with Islam whatsoever. It's just a rabbi. It's just a rabbi. Was it Arabic or was it, a rabbi? This is but the legendary form of the tradition that Catan was the progenitor of the southern Arabs or Arab proper, while the Ishmaelite Arabs were originally of non-Arab stock. So how did they get considered Arabic today? Right? They got their whole story, their whole Muhammad, their whole flow, right? That's their flow. But originally, the Arab had nothing to do with the Mohammedan tribes. It didn't say the Mohammedan tribes was the first to speak Arabic. It says Catan and them, first king of Yemen, right? But now that's all Islam flow, right? But that was originally Cathay, Promised Land, Hebrew flow. Okay, let's go back to the Balajuna covenant, right? Oath sworn mid-1203. So after escaping two successive carried ambushes, Temujin was cornered and comprehensively defeated at the Battle of the Khalid, same thing, Khalid Sands, or the Battle of the Burning Sands. Temujin regrouped the scattered remnants of his forces, retreated to Baljuna, an unidentified river on the lake of the southeastern Mongolia. There, he and his closest companions swore an oath of mutual fidelity. Damn, what does that sound like, man? Oh yeah, that's a good one. 74. We go have to come back to that. But what is this tribal swearing against King David sound like to you? Since King David's all through the Psalms, right? I'm telling you, this is all biblical, man. This whole Mongol flow, because Mongol just means the great ones, man. Oh, power. Oh, HaWah, keep not your silence, hold not your peace, be not still, oh, HaWah, For lo, your enemies are in an uproar. Song of Dawi, right? Song of Saf. All in the same house, right? So this is what's happening against the house of David. They hold crafty converse against your people. Sound like they're making an oath. And take counsel against your treasured ones. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Hasharah be no more in remembrance. They have consulted together with one consent. Against you, HaWah, do they make a covenant? And he called out the Edomites first, and the Ishmaelites who are of non-Arab stock, right? Moabites, Hagarites, all of them, right? Children of Lot consulted together with one consent and made a covenant, right? Swore an oath with his companions, closest companions. Swore an oath of mutual fidelity, promising to share hardships and glories, having spent the summer recruiting warriors attracted by the ideas of his campaign. Temujin amassed enough of a force to defeat the Kari in battle that autumn. 3 years later, 1206, having defeated all enemies on the steep, Temujin entitled himself Genghis Khan at the Kurultai, and honored the Balu Janatu, which is the Psalms 83, with the highest distinctions of his new Mongol Empire. Now it's a new Mongol Empire. It's a new Great One Empire. It's a new Khanate, right? Okay. Okay. Now it's a new Khan going on in the Battle of the Burning Sand. Yeah. So, all right. Never seen these links. Just digging on some stuff for the dismount. Because they're looking for Prester to help against the Muslims. But then comes Genghis Khan to fight against the Prester. It's belly flopping. So again, eventually we'll go back into the Prester John letter. But this is the ride who identified himself by the title Prester John. This is 1165. Addressed to the Byzantine Emperor Manuel Comnenus. Remember that? All right. Sent from the supreme ruler of the three Indies. And one of these would have to be, right? Would have to be India Superior, right? Or this Asia over here, that Asia over there as well. Africa boss. However you count the three Indies, this is all one big India right here. Right? India Superior. Supreme ruler. Khan of Khans, right? Right. This writer, Prester John, claimed to be rule a massive kingdom with 72 kings below. And this is how he's popping his stuff in 1165. And this letter went out to All kingdoms, everywhere they were, they got a letter translated just for them, right? Carried by dragons, right? He listed all the exotic animals in his kingdom, which today is a sort of a giveaway for the letter being fake. Well, why? Because it is a hodgepodge of some animals found, like tigers, and some in Africa, like giraffes. So you saying the Prester John can't have all these animals? He what you talking about? Yeah. You see how they like to do, man. I see where they go. They trying to disprove something. Right? But now we're talking 1221, which is after the invasion of Genghis Khan. The Bishop of Acre, the city of modern-day Israel, hijacked city, returned to Europe after the Fifth Crusade. So well with great news, King David of India, right? So this whole thing I brought up because we saying that this David line is connected. Genghis Khan is connected to the Mongols, is connected to the Hebrews, the Christians are clout chasing off of it. Everyone's connected to it. The Ethiopian flow is connected with the David. Everybody connected with the David flow. Now we just gotta get the David with the HaWah. Right now we gotta make sure your David isn't leading you to no other power, right? We gotta be the David, right? The house. India superior. King David of India. India superior. The grandson of Prester John. So of course, Prester's sons are David's. The West conquering the Muslim armies. This is why they mad. This is why Moab and him are mad in Psalms 83. He's taking out anybody who don't want to get in line, man. All right, with the order. So this was mostly wishful thinking, as the Christians in the Levant were getting beatly bad by the Muslims. At this point, it turns out that the King David he was referring to was none other than Genghis Khan, who was indeed working his way west, conquering kingdoms. But he wasn't a distant Christian ruler. So, you keep getting into it, you'll see that Genghis was also going under this title, David, which is why they got confused and thought they were talking about the David, and they came to the usurper, the usurper David. So they're trying to use this to prove that that Prester's not real because he's really Genghis Khan. No, Genghis stole the title Prester and stole the title Khan and stole the title David. And there's many stories that, I'll leave the link you can dig on. Let's keep flowing. Let's keep flowing. Matter of fact, hold up. We're going to get into this Founding Youth drop. But first, let's get into this Tecumseh flow. Let's switch it up, man. We've been popping off. Welcome to the 131st installment, part 131. That's truly spectacular, guys. I don't really want to risk playing any type of anything because YouTube and the copyright going crazy, but fair use, YouTube. We're just doing some educational. I better not see you jam me up for this 3 minutes such and such, man. For real, for real. I better not see it. But, it's all good because, we don't monetize the Prester John drops anyway, man. You never see a Prester John with ads going through it. I'm not doing it for the monetizations, man. If anything, we'll put clips out and stuff like that to support the channel, man. So I want you to be able to listen to these flutes and not get no advertisement play in the middle of it. So if you ever see ads in the Presters and many of our longer drops, many times they're just squeezing, they're finding some song the 1 minute song somewhere and they're saying, well, now we gotta do the revenue to this is how they put the ads in the video. So all right. Let's talk to Kumse's comment returning, man, because this is pretty special. Let's go. Shout out to 432. Fair use in your caboose, man.
Of the Devil's Comet. This intriguing comet, discovered way back in 1812. Did you know that on April 8th, 2024, during the total solar eclipse, a unique celestial spectacle will be visible? This isn't just any celestial event, but the rare appearance of the Devil's Comet. This intriguing comet, discovered way back in 1812, will emerge from the shadows, gracing our skies during this total. Its path will take it near the Sun, traversing the constellations Andromeda and Pisces, making this a truly celestial ballet. With an orbital period of approximately 71 years, these visits are few and far between. Around mid-March, it will be closest to the Sun in the constellation Aries, and will then head into Taurus, passing near Jupiter mid-April. This comet will be approximately 27 degrees from the Sun and close to bright Jupiter during the eclipse. So, what exactly is this Devil's Comet, and why is it making such a grand appearance? Discovered in 1812, the Devil's Comet...
1812, got it, boss. And why are you calling it devil? They seem to call us devils, right? They seem to call, devil or Satan just means adversary. So you're just saying adversary, but we're saying adversary of who? 1812. And then you got to connect the Kumse War of 1812, right? We got that plenty of times. You got to connect the Great Comet of 1811, 1812, because it was visible, they said, for 260 days straight with the naked eye, right? Even in their, novels and yada yada, the Great Comet of 1811 acted as a divine source of revival for this dying hero. The military leader Tecumseh, whose name was translated as Shooting Star, claimed the appearance of the comet as a favorable omen during his mostly unsuccessful efforts that year to bring the southern tribes, into his pan-Native American alliance. And remember, we dropped on the pan-Native. Native means nature of the creator. So to be all-inclusive to nature or the natural ones by law, as all Tecumseh was saying, is that we're natural by law. These are our lands. We can't be giving up 1,000,000 acres, 30 million acres at a time. We can't be giving up all this land in the Fort Wayne Treaty. Nah, boss. We can't be rocking with this Treaty of Pieces and Friendship on the headbone of Dragon Canoe and the Chickamauga Cherokee. And in 1812 or 1813, Tecumseh was killed. He's trying to tribe them up, but he's mostly unsuccessful because these other tribes were making treaties. Psalms 83, more and more. This was our last alliance as Israel, because we're talking to Kumse, right? We're talking to Ibaru. What does his name mean? Shooting Star? When we're talking comets, we're talking meteors. We're talking the Amaru Khan. We're talking Presters, right? Which is a meteor, right? Or a comet. We're talking dragons, because comets are dragons. And a dragon is a shooting star, fiery meteor. 1828, Webster Dictionary. It's also a person, a fierce or violent person, male or female, is a dragon. Why they blocking it? Why they blocking it? This man or woman is a dragon. If you are fierce towards the hijack or you fight for your land, they call you violent. You are a dragon, male or female. But so is a meteor. So is a Prester. If a meteor is a dragon and the Prester is a meteor, then we're just talking dragons, right? So 1828. No Webster Dictionary. We're talking 1811, 1812 comment. We're talking Tecumseh War, 1812. And what do we get out of this original history? Come on, man. Come on, man. Don't play, man. Original history of ancient America? Huh? Talking about Tyrus and Israel? George Jones? Go get the drop. Click the links, get the drop. What does author say though, man? Oh, now we're talking Russia again. Prussia. The first volume of an effort to delineate the history of ancient America. He's talking to the king and the majesty. He wants to give them a true history, right? Solomon Temple, Hiram of Tyrus, all this, right? To the deep historic interest expressed by His Royal Highness the Duke of Cambridge concerning the Aborigines of America may be traced the production of this work. It led the author originally to write the Israel Indian tragedy of Tecumseh. The same Tecumseh shooting star dragon, 1812. The same comment that's supposed to be coming back, April, at the same time as the solar eclipse. Let's get the rest of it. But I just want to let you know, this Tecumseh comment has to do with Israel. Because Tecumseh has everything to do with the Israel Indian tragedy in America. Because he tried to tribe up these Indians of India Superior. Man. The courteous reader, in tracing the fate of Tecumseh as depicted in the pages of his life, will not fail to observe the strong analogy between the religious sentiments of the chief of the force and those of the ancient Hebrews. Tecumseh is a Hebrew. The language as uttered by Tecumseh is not written by the pen of fiction merely to uphold a theory of the brain, but gathered from the archives of a people's history to support a theory of apparent truth. The present writer will not yield to any man in the firm belief that the Aborigines, or the naggers, right? Oxford Dictionary. The Aborigines of North America and the ancient Israelites are identical, unless controverted by the stern authority of superior historical deductions. We therefore have formed an original theory in reference to the natives of the North and those of South and Central America, together with the newly discovered ruined cities, like the Grand Canyon. in and around Guatemala, and by that theory have separated into two distinct races or tribes, the people of the Aborigines or the Aborigines of Western Hemisphere. The lately recovered ruins, cities, and temples in Central America, and of which no ancient record is to be found, have shattered the chain of acknowledged history to atoms, and until the chain is again united by a firmly established theory, education herself must pause ere she can, with the WANG of truth, point to her rising children the history of the world or its inhabitants. Suspicion has asserted that all the natives of the continent of Columbus might probably have been originally of Hebrew extraction, boss. And now you know that the Columbus was rocking with the Ferdinand and them. And that this 1811 has everything to do with your awakening, because even the Tecumseh saw it as something favorable, a favorable omen, he said. 1811, 1812, the same thing, right? And here we go with the great solar eclipse, the Hebrew Baruch Pasach, brand new year, and Tecumseh's comet reappearing at the same dang time. You got to make it make sense, boss.
Also known as Comet Pons-Brooks, is a Halley-type short-period comet. With an orbital period of approximately 71 years, this comet has been a celestial wanderer, making its round trip from the outermost regions of our solar system to the inner sanctum near our Sun. Come mid-March 2024, the comet will be spotted near the constellations Andromeda and Pisces. But it's during its closest approach to the Sun in April when the comet truly becomes a spectacle. It will traverse the constellation Aries and head into Taurus, passing near Jupiter mid-April. The comet has earned its nickname, the Devil's Comet, from a significant brightening and a distortion of the coma into a horn-like shape after an hour.
Into a horn-like shape. Well, I'll be. Because don't dragons have horns, boss? And meteors are comets and dragons are Presters. Make it make sense.
Outburst in July 2023. An ominous sign, some might say. During the eclipse, it will be approximately 27 degrees from the Sun and close to bright Jupiter.
2 + 7 is 9.
Its apparent brightness around this time is expected to be around magnitude 5. The solar corona's glow during the eclipse might make it difficult to spot without binoculars or a telescope, but for those who persist, the sight will be worth it. On April 21st, 2024, the comet will reach its perihelion, the closest point to the Sun, where it will shine at its brightest in the constellation Taurus. But there's more to this comet than meets the eye. In 2024, a remarkable convergence of celestial and cultural phenomena unfolds, as if the universe itself is setting the stage for an extraordinary spectacle. Alongside the total solar eclipse and the rare visibility of the Devil's Comet, we find ourselves at the peak of solar activity, marked by an increase in solar flares and sunspots. This cosmic dance is set to the rhythm of the Year of the Wood Dragon, a symbol of strength, luck and health in Chinese astrology. Yet this is more than a rare celestial alignment. It's a cosmic ballet that may usher in a new era of understanding, a shift in consciousness, a dawn of a new age, the age of Aquarius. The awe and wonder of these events may open our minds to a fresh perspective of the universe and our place within it. Now let's delve into a theory that could potentially change our understanding of space and time, the uniplanetary evolution theory. This theory suggests that our solar system is not just a collection of planets, but different stages of a planet's life. Mercury, the smallest planet in our solar system, is envisioned as a young Earth, and Neptune, the farthest from the Sun, as an older Earth. In this grand cosmic play, the theory proposes that we are about to witness the birth of a new planet. Not just any planet, but our very own Earth. It's as if our Sun is pregnant with a new world. And the celestial events of 2024 are the first contractions, the beginning of the birth process. This theory, if proven, could revolutionize our understanding of the universe. It could mean that our planet is not just a passive participant in the cosmic dance, but an active player in the creation and evolution of the universe. So, are these ominous events a prequel to what's to come? We can only wait, watch and wonder. As we step into this potential new era, let's keep our eyes on the skies and our minds open to the endless possibilities that the cosmos presents. The comet's visibility will be best in the northern hemisphere in March and April 2024 after sunset. As the celestial curtains draw back, the Devil's Comet will grace us with its presence in the cosmic theatre. Amid the vast expanse of the night sky, one may need to borrow the eyes of binoculars or a telescope to truly appreciate its magnitude. The comet, a silent performer, dances across the stage of the cosmos, a spectacle not to be missed. So keep your eyes to the skies because the show is about to start.
Yeah, man. Last time this show had to start. Yeah, I mean, 1811, right? This comet was visible to the naked eye around 260 days straight, man. Longest recorded period of visibility into Comet Halley. Hell by. You see the bright comb? What y'all think? What's it got to do with the comb say? What's it got to do with the Hebrew extraction found by Columbus and them? Found by Charles V, Black King Charles, right? What's it got to do with Israel in America and the Tecumseh War and the Chickamauga Cherokee that made no deals with the devil? They're calling the comet the devil. That's not our adversary. That appears to be your adversary, but that's not our adversary. A lot of, we're witnessing a rising, man. Will David rise again? Trumpetcall.org seems to think so. Scripture speaks about King David coming again and ruling Israel in the last day. Jeremiah 30 verse 9, but they shall serve HaWah their power, and David their king, whom I will raise up unto them. Sound like the Prester, man. Ezekiel 37:24, verse 24, David my servant shall be king over them, and they shall all have one shepherd. So we don't got to follow with Jesus or Muhammad, nothing else, but rock with our Creator, and we'll be given our one shepherd, which is King David, whom I will raise up. Not I have raised up. This is Jeremiah. This is way after 2 Kings, right? This is way after Samuel, right? Whom I will raise up. And Jeremiah is the son of King Saul. Is it Saul? Saul has a son, Jeremiah, who has a son, Afghana, according to the $1,000 book, Medieval Empire of the Israelites. We got to get back on that, man, for sure. Right? King Saul's son is Jeremiah. This is how he's rocking with David. So this is what he know. This is Saul's bond, and all of Saul's people were protected under David, so they loved David. They knew David didn't want no smoke with Saul. It was just HaWah made it happen that way. But David's being raised up again. Ezekiel 37 says we have one shepherd, Dawid. They shall all walk in my judgments. We're going to keep the code. We're going to do it. Hosea 3 verse 5. Afterwards, the children of Israel will return. Seek the Creator directly, not through JC, and David their king. We're talking in the latter days. You will respect the Creator, your order. They say fear HaWah and his goodness in the latter days. David is being seeked. There's an investigation going on. But first you got to investigate the Creator. You got to investigate the code. You have to observe, right? Quantum physics, right? You got to collapse the wave pattern around the Creator's judgments and laws to get your paradise, to get your shepherd returning, whom I will raise up. David, 3 different witnesses. David will be raised up. David is the one shepherd. David is being sought after you keep the code. Now you're on an investigation. We're on part 131 in the latter days. I can't make this stuff up. We're talking David's return, not JC. What did this matter? The thing which is not. Why not? Let's get it. I'm having fun. We're having a good time. Why not? Like Drop going crazy. Maybe Drop has gone crazy, but that's okay. The thing which is not. Mapping the fantastic history of the great southern continent. Vanessa Collindridge. For the Dismount, this essay explores mental journeys that probe the edges of knowledge and existence. Edges are inherently paradoxical and perplexing, marking both safety and danger, accessing contamination in the context of travel. Maps can be central to the process of locating places in the geographical and literary imagination, but cartography is also a practice that exposes where our knowledge begins and ends. Inevitably, there remains the question of what lies beyond the edge. Yeah, we just slipped into some flat drop just like that. Yeah, drop. Because the Prester drop is everything to do with orientation. Orientation pies and orientation enchiladas, man. If y'all dig the flat drop, leave a comment and say flat drop 101, boss. That lets me know you're surfing the wave in real time with me right now. Some people watch the first 12 minutes. Some people surf the wave. All right. Flat drop 101. But cartography is also a practice that exposes where our knowledge begins and ends. Inevitably, there remains the question of what lies beyond the edge outside the map of known places. This essay asks the question, how do we deal with terra incognita, the unknown or empty spaces on the map? It takes as its focus the empty space of the conjectured great southern continent, Terra Australis, or more correctly, Terra Australis nondum cognita, the Southland not yet known. Con. That would also be Antarctica, boss. Australis is what Antarctica was called. We're talking about the Great South, not yet known. The Great South sounds like Tarzanta too, right? Sound like Tarzanta to me. Tarzan to who? Tarzan to what? Tarzan to wow. Ahab to Sakal. My Ock dropped, man, my Ock dropped one of my favorite maps, man. This is an amazing map because it shows North and South America, Africa, all that. Then it shows what it's connected to. And this is not what they show you today when you talk Antarctica. All mapped out like this, right? And why would it say Tarzanta, right? Why would it say Tarzanta? Well, because Tarzanta means holy land. And why would Antarctica be called Holy Land, boss? Because there ain't no cap on Antarctica's chest bone. This ain't no ice. What's beneath the ice is another world, my nigga. And this world is connected to Tarzanta, which connects to the gateways to get out the world, to the worlds beyond the poles. Yeah, there's a Phoenicia here. Yeah, there's a Virginia all over the place. And Phoenicia is next to Holy Land, which makes perfect sense because they speak in Phoenician. They speak in Hebrew. Kaka. Tarazanta. Australius. Holy Land, Holy Ground. Hijack City, we talking Israel. Southland, not yet, no. Tara, Australius. As its curious label suggests, this land was a putative antipodal space first debated and described by classical authors from Pythagoras to Plato to Cicero and mapped on paper and in the mind, despite the fact that no one had ever traveled there. Well, I beg to differ. We beg to differ because the map is very detailed. Or according to Aristotelian geography, could travel there, so no one could get there, as it lay conceptually beyond the impassable torrid zone at the equator. And yet the fabled continent became a geographical meme, carrying its name, recognizable intellectual tradition, and even physical form, containing detailed coastline, rivers, place name, sometimes its own civilizations. Tarzanta, wow. For the dismount. Sometimes its own civilizations, boss. A thing which is not, it was, like Swift's Houlihan's Land, a seemingly convincing landscape of reason located in an ocean of fantasy. And it is this paradox of being both known and unknown, that like Paradise, Atlantis, and El Dorado, cities of gold, make it not only the perfect geographical location, but also a useful exemplar of how and why we make the geographies that we do, both in our minds and in our maps. So the land of Prester John or Tarzanta can easily connect to these South lands, man, through portals and all kind of gateways. So 3 India Con, connects to much more. Much, much more. We have a couple of different versions, I think, of that map. Let me see. This joint here. Hey, up to the cons, man. Tribe Up Music. I know y'all liking that tribal music, man. We got a lot more coming. All right, different tint to it. Same Tarzanta, though. Holy Land. This joint here, because I think we did the Tarzanta challenge, and a bunch of my guys started finding more Tarzanta maps, and eventually they even called Israel or Palestine on some maps also Tarzanta over there too. But you see the same gateways going through, and Tarzanta. Let's go. Southland, not yet. No. El Dorado, Atlantis, Prester, Tarzanta, Holy Land. Make it not only the perfect geographical location, but a useful example of how and why we make the geographies the way we do, both in our minds and in maps. The wider argument of this essay is that maps and charts are much more than just background illustrations for travel logs and cosmological treatises. Neither are they simply a record of geographical knowledge or travels from A to B. Instead, as geographical forms of representation, maps and charts offer literary scholars, quote, accessing to the written word. If only one knows how to look to see clearly, right? The writer might seem trite, but the question of how best to read maps and mappings is still actively contested by theorists and practicing cartographers. They still don't know how to read these maps, man. They still don't know how to read these maps. As Matthew N. Edney argues, when it comes to beliefs and practices within cartography, the two traditional idealizations, that is, that maps are strictly factual statements and that cartography is an innately progressivist science that serves as a surrogate for Western civilizations, are no longer intellectually credible. Firstly, the concept of maps as factual statements representing some kind of presumed geographical truth is inherently flawed. The only truthful map would be a one-to-one exact replica. Maps necessarily distort reality, reducing a spherical world with 3D texture surfaces into generally 2D. So you see they coming from a hijack mentality if they think they're on a sphere. So they definitely don't know how to read the maps if they think they spinning on a ball. But now we're in a flat plane. Moreover, every map is the result of geographical, cultural, ideological situatedness of the cartographer in turn. This impacts on modes of representation and production, decisions about which features to include and which to leave out. The smaller the scale, the less detail can be shown. So is this an argument against maps, or you know, are they gonna go deeper into the worlds beyond the poles? I'm just add some stuff up. This only gave me the first 2 pages, but I'm gonna look for more on this, man. And I'm just digging on the southern continent that became real detail. And how can something ice be called fuego? How can it be called fuego, boss? Let's go, man, for the dismount. Obviously, they don't know how to read these maps, right? Back to the David Rumsey Tivoli. They think it's a 2D spherical representation. I don't see no sphere because I see gateways, just like Tarzanta. I see gateways to get out, don't you? Just like Tarzanta, you know. Right when you hit that connection. I see gateways to get out, right? Just like Tarzan the Well. Tarzan the who? Gateways to get out. Gateways to get out, boss, right? Gateways, boss. And then there's the Prester outside the wall. The Grand Ethiopian, Abyssinia. What you doing outside the map? Grand Prester, Prete, Juan, Johnny. What is Prester John doing on this, ancient map of the world with no ice on Antarctica's cat ball? And what's it got to do with Tara Sancta? Wow. When does freeze over happen, right? Then it brings back to the Little Ice Age. Then it brings us back to harmonic mountains and people marching and migrating, right? Right outside the wall is the Preston. Right outside the gateways is that where the calm been laying low. The calm been waiting. The shepherd been waiting on the flock. Come for the dismount. Best dismount of all time. Couple more links and we out this piece. CGA course module. Let's get it. Just picking it up right here. Let's get it, man. In DW, Genghis's launched military campaign against Prester John because the latter regarded the young leader's proposal as shameful. Doesn't he know that he is my vassal and my slave? I will put him to death for being disloyal to his lord. This is when it was going all the way up with Genghis and Prester. Scholars argue for various perspectives regarding to whether Genghis married Prester John's daughter or not. Paul Piliad insists that the marriage never took place, but Ong Khan's daughter was taken over by Genghis. And we also got that he took Prester's son and his daughter and his wife. So how many of our women did they take to marry into to make them proper, genuine Arabs, right? A rabbi. However, both the friar Vincent de Braveux and the diplomat Andre de Longimieux, who had traveled to Mongols' territory between 1274 or 47 and 1264, mentioned the existence of a Mongol lady as daughter of Prester John and wife of Genghis Khan. So Genghis got his bride after all. Now he's an heir proper by marriage. Now he can take the lands, right? Now they can say, my grandmama's land is right here, but your grandmama didn't want to be in that marriage, right? She didn't want to give her lands to you by no heritage, birthright. Chapter 69 and 70 of the Speculum Historiale de Bervius wrote about a surviving daughter of King David, or Ong Khan, who became the wife of Genghis and bore him 2 sons. Andre de Longuemue description differs a little. Genghis married the daughter of Prester John and bore him 1 son. And then the reigning emperor Gayuka Khan, however, it is obvious. Okay, so he bore him 1 son, the then reigning Emperor Gayuka Khan. However, it is obvious that Gayuka Khan was grandson of Genghis, and credibility of De Longuemue text remains in question. Although, as Peliot points out, Genghis did not marry the daughter, but the niece of Ong Khan, Ibakabaki. All right, so okay. They didn't say Prester don't exist. They say, did he marry his daughter or his niece? Furthermore, Rashid al-Din would disagree with Beve and Longuemue. In Compendium of Chronicles, he states that the winter, Genghis Khan requested Sangun's sister, Kar-Urbiki, for Jochi Khan. Ong Khan requests Genghis Khan's daughter, Fuji-Biki, for Sanjun's son, Tasbawa, but neither match took place. This was the winter of 1202, right? Back to that year, which is the year of the dog. Whoa. So it was time for the dog tribes to rise. It was time for these dog heads. Now we're in the year of the dragon, right? It's time for the Drakan to rise. Cool. The above account matches with the secret history's description of Genghis' requested the younger sister said of Sangun, Karu-Biki, and in exchange planned to give his daughter Kojin-Biki to Sejun's son Tasaka. Despite the slightly varied names in 2 texts, readers conceded that they convey this exact same information. Moreover, both sources highlighted that the failure of such a marriage plan became the blasting fuse of discord between Prester John and Genghis Khan. The secret history further explaining that Sejun's dissension led to Genghis' loss of affection for Prester John, since Marco Polo states that in the year 1200, after the birth of their JC, so-called, Genghis sent his invitation to Prester John, which is close to 1202, right? We've been hovering around that date all investigation, right? So Marco may want to refer to this unsuccessful proposal, which he also indicated that triggered the war between Genghis and Ong Khan. Hence, if Marco was indicating the event of winter 1202, his account can be considered credible. Right, back to the war with Genghis and Prester. So let's get a piece of this for the dismount. According to Marco, Genghis' failed attempt to marry Prester John's daughter triggered a large-scale war between Genghis and Prester John, with Genghis Khan making the greatest preparations ever seen or heard of, the greatest war you have never heard of, right? Such an important warfare should be included in primary sources to prove the credibility of Marco's descriptions. Fortunately, secret history records that the Kharid soldiers encountered Genghis' forces and fought for 3 nights and 3 days, who on the 3rd day were exhausted and surrendered to Genghis. With the event's macroscopic credibility confirmed, Marco's detailed description of the war will be explored. I will successfully explain the geographical location Tenduk, which is the same as Tengu, And that's confirmed in Prester John Legend and the sources by Keegan Brewer. Love to the battle family for that drop. And Tengu is Tenduk, also spelled Tenduc. Same spot in India. Superior. And the very scholarly analysis on the same event. In a piece of this, first, according to Markle, the war took place in the plain of Tanduk, or Tangu, while Professor Thomas Alson, one of the authors who composed the Cambridge History of China, states that Tanduk stands for Tianti, which was located northeast of the loop of the Yellow River. And again, this Tanduk or Tangu are also the Shi, right? The Tangu people. Tangu. These are the same people at war against Genghis. Same time, right? 1227, Mongol Empire. They're known as the Western Shia, right? Tang Dynasty, right? The Tangus established the Western Shia. And if you know anything about the Olmecs, they're also called the Shi, right? And I'm saying that these Tangu are the Olmec. And these Olmec are Hebrews that went to war against Genghis. And that's what happened to the Olmec. Khan. We'll be back on this, but just know these Tangus go hard. And they're connected right here in America, fighting against Genghis Khan. Against Genghis Khan. And then Genghis Khan unified the northern grasslands of Mongolia. This is after he's rolling up on the Western Shia. This is heavy history. The HaWah, HaWah, H-U-A, HaWah Khan. All this is the Chinese history, the Mongol history. All this is Hebrew history torn apart, and everyone is copying our style and not giving their true history, but taking our notable story and remixing it and acting like they got some civilization when they don't. I mean, or else they'll use their civilization and not use our Hebrew facts and hide behind our story to create his story. Gotta dig on the Tangu script. I'm just going fast, but it's all right in our baseball. The Tangu people were swarthy, man. I'm out of here, boss. Leave a comment. Body bag. Body bag for the illusion, according to William Ruber, 13th century, 1200s. The Tangus were valiant and had big, swarthy men among them. That's not them. We're talking swarthy. We're talking Nagas, man. Dark skin, copper color. Same thing. The Western Shia was annihilated by the Mongol Empire. This is under Genghis. So the Shishia right here in Tangu, the Tangu people are at war with Genghis Khan. The same Tangu that Genghis Khan had to roll up against Prester John. The Mongols must be as near to Tangu as we, because Genghis Khan is on the march to America. We're gonna get more. No trip. Man, so much more drive, man. We still didn't finish this one either. Best dismount of all time. Oh yeah, well they just gave me okay. They gave me a little bit. Oh, this this is the one that took us to the Charles, right? So that's what we start. The geographical discoveries, Charles. All right. Then they went into the Prester letter. This letter, while not the first document to use the name Prester John, is the basis of his legend, and for centuries thereafter, Europe had no substantial doubt of its authenticity. It is indeed a wondrous concoction of Prester describing himself as ruling in India. Superior. India. A geographical expression that the Europeans in 1165 had much later meant nothing more specific than a land lying to the east. India is not a specific place, my naga. It's talking about a land in the far east. And this is the superior India in America next to Florida and Mexico in 1548 Castaldi map. He goes on to say that he is a Christian. Stop it. Hijack. Sovereign, and to describe in patronizing, condensing tones his power and wealth. Yeah, we're just talking about President John. And the marvels found in his land. And everyone has their conjecture, and everyone has their opinions. Last link, my naga, so much more to get, but I've done my best. Press the 131. Look forward to the rest. Returning to the good old lake, and this is where we first saw this picture here. It was on this link, and then they took it down. They took Prester 1 down. And now it's a pictureless link, but it's okay. We know what's really on it. Why would they take the picture down, right? Main thing to focus on for the dismount, my naga, is that after they stopped searching, after the Portuguese stopped searching in 1645, that's when they turned their attention from some Africa founding youth to Florida boss. Right, the same Florida that's on the map. And India Superior. So what would make them start searching here in the last 500 years after they discovered America and discovered India Superior, right? Now they're over here in La Florida, which is all this stuff, right? It's just India Superior. It's just India Superior. Now they're looking in Florida. But it's only been the case for the last 500 years. For as much a long stretch, actually dating all the way back to the 5th century BC, its home was believed to be in Ethiopia. Back then, the first Persian Empire touched 3 continents. Right now, we're talking about the 3 Indias again. Back then, the first Persian Empire touched 3 continents, but Ethiopia resisted invasion. But again, which Ethiopia? These are all generic terms. And now when you start talking Persia, now we're talking Babylon. And now we're talking long-lived Ethiopians, which is going to be bringing us back to the fountain. And I'm going to take my time with this one next time. But we done touched on it from the beginning. So you know what's up. We want to dig more on this letter of President 9/11/65, when everybody, the whole world, was put on notice that the Prester is real, that the lands are marvelous, right? Then they tried to link it to Africa, but then they never found any of the drop over there ever, right? So it all started turning to America. Influencing the shift of the search for John and the fountain of youth to Ethiopia in the 14th and 15th centuries was a series of actual diplomatic missions from Ethiopia, first to Jerusalem, then to the mainland Europe. Believe it or not, Ethiopians were present in Europe as early as 1306 at the behest of Ethiopian King Wadim Rahad. In the latter years, participated in important councils that helped form a benign impression of Prester John's realm. Though, to be clear, Ethiopians never understood why Europeans persisted in calling him Prester John, when the real title was Negus. But now they'll say nigger. They'll say nigger, and we'll say knock. We're just talking the consonants, not the vowels. So, yeah, the Europeans were calling him Prester John. He's just the Rex Negus, right? So, whatever differences existed between Ethiopians' practice of Christianity and Christianity in Rome, they both focused on the enemy they shared. The most faithful of Prester John's believers even argued he was able to control the flow of the Nile or the Mississippi, boss. That sounds marvelous, right? He's controlling the flow of the water. He surely is the Prester. He is ThaWaDa, which, if enforced, could put serious hurt on his neighbors, Muslim neighbors, and this is why they mad. This is why they had to form a confederacy. This nigga controls it now. This nigga Goose controls it now. Yeah, us neighbors need to team up because this is Marvel stuff, right? Right. Then we got the found youth flow to account for Prester John's age, which in the Swords of the East they called him 1,200 years old. And Robert Silverberg writes in his 1972 book, The Realm of Prester John, for the dismount, that the legend of the Fountain of Youth in Ethiopia was blended in as an interpolation. Here's the version transcribed from a slightly later manuscript in Silverberg's book. Whoever drinks of his water 3 times without having eaten will have no illness for 30 years. And when he has drunk of it, he will feel as if he had eaten the finest meats and spices, for it is full of HaWah's grace. Fountain, whether he be of 100 or 1,000 years or 1,200 years, will regain the age of 32. Know that we, the whole tribe, the tribe, were born and blessed in the womb of our mother. This is out the Prester letter, Manai. 562 years ago. And since then we have bathed in the fountain 6 times. You know, back to that Portuguese monument, right? So they bathed 6 times, and this time was by 1165. You know what I mean? That's 6 times went back to 32. Not just him, but we, right? The whole tribe. In other words, Prester John was letting readers know that by the miracle of the fountain of youth, he was 562 years old and going strong. And this is why they mad. This is why they searched for 500 years for a man. Who keeps searching for 500 years for a man? Unless they know he was at least 562 years old and going strong. As a result of this interpolation, building on the fountain of youth, Herodotus had identified in Ethiopia 1,500 years before Europe's difficulty in making contact with Prester John then was of no moment. Silverberg agrees, for he was immortal, whom I will raise up, Jeremiah 30, and could wait a while longer to be discovered in America and India Superior. Prester John was in that most exclusive club of personalities who had staying power for centuries, not just minutes. And we'll pick it up next time with the Portuguese encounter, understanding that they're into it, right? They're searching for the Khan for 500 years. Khan. Oh, who is Prester John? Is it a Magi? Is it a Dalai Lama? Raja Haraja, Chola, Lebna, Dango, Dawid, Priest King, Prester, King David. Halal HaWah for another fantastic voyage. 9 above the firmament, high in the ether waves, and that water. Cause Drop Nation got that water. And in Prester 132, we're gonna have to return to a book, to a source where it all began. Lost Tribes and Promised Lands, Ronald Sanders, man. Where it all popped off, man. So much drop, so little time. So much drop, my niggas, so little time. That's all I can say. Despite such miracles of nature, the main feature of the landscape in Prester John's rim seems to be the desert. It is dominated by a waterless, sandy sea on which the sand moves and swells into waves like the sea and is never still. After a desert journey of 3 days from the sea, one reaches mountains from which descend a waterless river of stones which flows through our country to the sandy sea. 3 days in the week it flows and casts up stones both great and small, and it also carries with it wood to the sandy sea. When the river reaches the sand, the stones and wood disappear and are not seen again. While the river is in motion, it is impossible to cross. On the other 4 days, it can be crossed, The desert character of the realm is further suggested by John's particular stress upon elephants, dromedaries, and camels among the many animals to be found there. Yet, for all this aridity, there is abundance. The sandy sea, for example, contains all kinds of edible fish. What? Where then is this remarkable country? Our magnificence, writes Prester John, dominates the three Indias and extends to farther India, where the body of St. Thomas the Apostle rests. It reaches through the desert toward the place of the rising of the sun and continues through the valley of the deserted Babylon, close to the Tower of Babel. Suddenly, the vague immensity takes a biblical tinge. This is deepened when John informs us that his territories comprise the Pison, which is one of the four rivers that rise up out of the terrestrial paradise, boss, according to the second chapter of Genesis. Furthermore, like the land of Havilah. And isn't Havilah, right, connected to the Eber flow? Choctaw, right? Karakata, right? Around which the biblical Pison flows, John's country contains gold and onyx. It also flows with milk and honey. Prester John, just like the Bible, just like King David. A hint at the location of this realm is provided by Genesis 2, verse 13, which tells us that another of the four rivers of Eden, the Gihon is also the John, compass the whole land of Ethiopia. Let's get it, man. Y'all with me for the dismount? Let's go. John tells us that his palace is at Susa, the ancient capital of Persia, but this also implied proximity to Ethiopia in the vague geographical imagination of medieval Europe. Because Europe's geography was vague. They just had an imagination. As the centuries passed, the continual realm of the rest of clearly somewhat south of the original Tartar centers of the legend, now we're with the Mongol again, right, was to be increasingly identified as Ethiopia. The Zoroaster-like character who thus begins to emerge can be perceived as deeply bound up in the imagery and mythology of the ancient East, which is America, my now. In some ways, he is another version of the noble non-European whose Western counterpart we have come upon in the Fortunate Islands, but there are significant differences. Unlike the Fortunate Islander, the sophisticated Orient knows both the value of money and the necessities of war. The Western idea was founded in the classical simplicity and closeness to a fresh and fertile nature, whereas the Oriental one reposes or repossesses in or reposes in a natural environment that is harsh, forbidding, and old, and that yields up minerals and miracles more readily than vegetation. Marvelous. The way of life envisioned for the West was essentially democratic. This Eastern one is the best of all possible monarchies. The Fortunate Islands beckon to pioneers, Prester John's domains to pilgrims and saints, while the quote noble image sings of a future far from the clutter of decadent civilization. Our noble Ethiopian makes a last plea for the treasures, both material, and spiritual, Shalak, that may still be found among the rubble of a sacred past. He represents a kind of archaeological rediscovery, a digging up of Hellenistic Christians' origins in the East, or the Hebrews in the so-called West today, to which Western Europeans have finally been drawn in the age of the Crusades. They just got here. They just found us here, boss. Copper color race found here. The Prester John legend thus emerges as a Christian counterpart to those visions of a longed-for and ancient East that we have glimpsed among Muslims and Jews in the Iberian Peninsula. Indeed, it represents an assertion for Europe in general of that tolerant spirit represented above all the medieval Spain by medieval Spain, an acceptance of that East in some of its culture and racial complexity. In fact, the Prester John letter may, at least in part, have Jewish roots or Hebrew roots. Let's get it for the dismount. In the desert that separates the mountains from the sandy sea, the writer tells us an underground river or rivulet turns into a large river in which an abundance of precious stones is to be found, quote, beyond this river. He goes on, quote, there are 10 tribes of Jews or Hebrews who, though they pretend to have their own kings, are nevertheless our servants and tributaries, because they're all pretending to have their kings. Even the northern tribes of Israel were pretending to have a king of Israel when David is the king. Nothing more on the subject is said in the original version of the letter, but it is noteworthy that in the embroidered versions produced by later generations, this passage is among the ones that underwent the greatest amplification. In an English version, 1507, for example, the weak kings of the above passage become a great king of Israel. In America, boss, Columbus brought a Hebrew interpreter, boss, to speak to the Khan of Khans, boss, whom Prester John concedes to. So this was their embellishment or greatest amplification. Later they changed it to Prester John bowing down to some greater king, but we know the truth. Concedes to be twice as strong as I am. His domains are twice as great as Christendom in Turkey, and he hath under him 300 kings, 4,000 princes, dukes, earls, barons, knights, squires without number. Here he seems to have become an alternate version of Prester John himself. And you know we love the fine print one more time, right? So this confused geography has ancient and honorable roots. The first verse of the book of Esther describes the realm of the Persian king Ahasuerus, whose palace also was at Susa, as extending from, quote, India even into Ethiopia, end quote. In Greek and Roman authors, there is a similar vagueness about the vast region taken in by terms like India and Ethiopia, the latter, even in the narrowest sense, comprising a much larger area than present-day Ethiopia. So the real Ethiopia is way larger than the present day one, because we're talking India Superior. And beginning just south of the first cataract of the Nile, and about its relationship with the better known Persia, in the apocryphal Acts of St. Thomas, the apostle moves eastly between Persia and India. So it must be all around America, boss. Starting roughly with the 5th century apocryphal writer, the Pseudo-Abdias, who describes the exploits of Apostle Thomas, Bartholomew, Matthew, and each of the 3 Indias. This later concept became a standard one in the Middle Ages. Listen up for the dismount. Press the 131. One of the 3 Indias face Ethiopia, quote unquote, which must be Africa, right? According to Pseudo-Abdias, the second faced Persia, and the third occupied the ends of the earth, boss. Lands beyond the pole. Farthest India, farthest east, farthest Orient, ends of the earth. They just found you here, between the ocean and the rim of darkness. What? What's that? The third became especially fruitful for the geographical imagination. That's what they're writing. Marvels about you because it's fruitful for the geographical imagination. The region of untold islands, boss. The Indies, right? In which the plural term Indias, etymologically one and the same as Indies, West Indies, right? Came to rest for once and for all. There also were less mysterious, more valid definitions of the three Indias among medieval geographers. But for most Europeans, swarthy Europeans, Charles V Europeans, even learned ones, the term covered a vast and distant region of dark-skinned people. Body bag for the illusion. I'm out of here, boss. We're just talking about a vast and distant region, east or west, culminating in countless array of islands in one direction, and in Ethiopia, the biblical Kush in the other. So left or right, east or west, it's Ethiopia or India's. A vast region, distant region of copper-colored cotton. Indeed, it is very likely that some sort of identification between Prester John and the King of Israel, between the remote realm of Christians or Hebrews and the final refuge of the 10 lost tribes, lies buried in the very sources of this legend. This possibility seems very close to the surface in the early Central Asian versions provided by Hugh of Jabala, with its intimations of Tartars, Genghis and them, right? And of the king of the Khazars. And the Khazars was originally called Mazaka or Mosak after Moses, the founder. Only a generation after Bishop Hugh, the celebrated Jewish traveler Benjamin of Tudela, described a relationship he heard about between four of the lost tribes and a nomadic people called the Kofar al-Tarak. And we done dug deep. Go get the drop in the previous Prester Johns on the Kofar al-Tarak. Tribes of the Prester in the desert, right? On the Central Asian steppes, the Kofar al-Tarak eventually were not Christian, but their purported relation with some of the lost tribes resembles that of Prester John. Whoa. So you can find more drop on Prester when you dig on Kofar al-Tarak. Why not? Tarak, why not? Lost Tribes resembles that of Prester John and could have something to do with the making of the latter's legend, but the most probable Jewish source for the Prester John letter that we know is the narrative of the curious figure of Jewish history, Eldad the Danite. Making his appearance toward the end of the 9th century, Eldad traveled through Mesopotamia, North Africa, and Spain, sojourning with the Jewish or Hebrew communities in those places and telling them an outstanding story that their rabbis, rabbis and scholars took quite serious. He said he was a member of the tribe of Danite, right? And which was now living in 3 of the other lost tribes beyond the river of Ethiopia. So he was now living with 3 of the lost tribes beyond the rivers of Ethiopia. Dan had left the kingdom of Israel long before the conquest of the Assyrians, 722 BCE, for it had refused to participate in Jeroboam's revolt against Solomon's son Rehoboam and had gone into exile instead. The Danites had thought at first of going to Egypt, but it was forbidden them to return to the scene of their ancient servitude. Look, man, I can't make this up. Ronald Sanders is breaking this down with the Kofar al-Tarak and the Prester flow and the Danai Eldad flow, you know what I'm saying? Along with all this other drop and the Prester John letter, man. And the monuments of the Portuguese and the Genghis Khan tribal war in 1202 and the cartography giving the name Prester John right by India's superior in the 1500s and him being the king of the Indias with the Sambanyang River flowing, man. We see clearly this ain't no play. We were never supposed to know about this according to Hijack City. We began our own investigation, not according to none of their scholars, but us emptying our cup. And this is what got us to Prester 131, my guys. This is what got us here. You got us here. Your dedication, your willingness to continue and keep the water flow. ThaWaDa increase, my guys. And know that it's all you. It all looks like us. Before and after, huh? They've done everything they can, but not gonna hijack the Naga, right? To hijack your flow. And it all looks like us. And they tried to switch it up. But we see clearly. They tried to switch everything up. And they tried to slay the dragon. Over and over again, they slayed the dragon. What kind of hijack keeps painting their faces on our images when we seem to be the face of all the earth plane? Before we had to team up to fight anything else. Yeah, you see it, man. Wah. HALAL. We see clearly. The Hebrew rules in full effect. We see clearly. Swarthy popes, we see clearly. Byzantine, gotta dig more on that, right? Get into the Khazaria flow again. But we see clearly. Taken out by our own Nagas. And now you don't know who's who. But we see clearly. Grand Prince of Kiev, this is supposed to be the real Russians to your left. The red ruddy Russians of Russia, right? Lost tribes of Israel are the Rus of Russia, are the red ruddy, are the real a rabbi of the proper red ruddy, man. Red Ruddy. And these Rooses love to Jesse Bed. Ahab to the Queen, Lady Ann Roos, Ann Ross, Clan Ross. Lady Andrews, Clan Seol Andrea, the ancient and noble house of Ann Roos, where they get the Russia from. Connects to all the Hebrews and all the captivities, Iberian, Egypt, all that, right? Andros Island, Greece, all the Rus connected. Alexander the Great, hey, Megas. Even in Tennessee, we're talking the land of Rus. In the house of Andreas, they say from the race of St. Andrew, and the kindred of the kings of Jerusalem. So these Anrus royals are kindred or the family of the kings and queens of Jerusalem. This is Kiev, right? Kiev and Rus, 1200 AD. Just like the whole Genghis Khan takeover at the same time. He's pouring through Russia. No, he's against the house of Rus. He's against Jerusalem. He's against the real royals. Clan Seol Andreas. He's against the real Arab. The Saracens, right? The Papal Bulls against the Saracens. He's against Big Mama Wisdom, who's the conqueror of all fortune. He's against the real Tao. He's against Clan Ross, found in Cathay, which means one thing. He's against the tribes of Israel. We're talking Kiev, House of Rus. ThaWaDa to my cons again, man. Surfing the wave 9 above the barrier. Man, we've been to Antarctica, Tarazanta in this trip. Went deep into the Mongol flow, into the Tangus, the Shi, the Jamuka flow. Man, we, just been digging on, brought it back to the Fountain of Youth flow, Lost Tribes and Promised Land flow. You know what I'm saying? And, end it right, where we need to begin. And have a lot more beginnings to make. Back home, man. And if you got the latest on Patreon, if you haven't, click the link below. Get into Patreon because a lot of my long form drops are going to be dropping here, man. And, this little bit here so far we can use and put aside and say, all right, we can put that towards paint for a fence. You know what I'm saying? We can put that towards, food for the fence building cons, the Nagas that's helping build the fence, or whatever project we're working on. We can keep this going for them. So please become a $3 a month member, my Naga, and let us run it up, man, to build our land. Never forget, man. These people, it's crazy, man. How crazy? Crazy, man. These people, since they want to talk monkeys, we're
whatnot.
Whoa. You're going too fast. You're going too far. Come on, boss. Come on, boss. No, come on.
The day you get your clear choice.
I shouldn't be confusing nobody. Let's go. By looking up definitions like Mary. This is crazy. Conjugal. Connubial. That's all you got? That's it? Marriage equals conjugal. Con. I mean, we know about conjugal visits. Connubial. Damn near sound like cannibal, man. Uh-huh. Connubial rights. Connubial love. Man, let's go to etymologies, man. I'm just surfing away. Surfing away. Either way, what does it mean that he got married and then they were not? He just left the house and moved on? I mean, maybe it's that simple. Maybe it's that simple. Pan-native or pan-African, man. Formerly wedlock, spouse, boom, from Mary, right? 1300s. Mary. Of parent or superiors to give offspring in marriage. Enter into conjugal state. Take a husband and wife, get married. Con. Mary, right? Or more. Back to the more. I'll guarantee you never connected Mary with the more. What's the more they got to do with the more?
Priest.
Young girl, young man. All right, man. All right. Hijack City. What does Mary got to do with the Virgin Mary? Now, that seems too coincidental to have nothing to do with the other. Like, you ever think about the connection between marriage, Mary, with the Virgin Mary? Okay. All right. Whoa. Uh-oh. How you get the poison? Because then there were none, and they just let us write the poison.
You got poison.
Now, ain't that something? Gaba, to give or receive, from German gift, Swedish gift means. Can't make this up, boss. God, hey, hijack, you one bad hijack. We over here giving each other gifts.
That right to poison.
And all we doing is poisoning each other. Damn. They never forget, man. These people crazy, man. And so am I, man. So are we, man. We crazy for the code, man. We crazy for a while. Get in the classroom, man. We popping off on Patreon. Please click the link below. Support the tribe. Yeah, we talking Tara, ThaWaDa, Holy Land. And we all ready home. Hey, shalom to the code keepers, because your frequency is raising and connecting more vibration and energy and frequency, man, than you can ever imagine. You know, we are connecting these ley lines, these dragon lines. Once again, we are connecting the Tau, two cross sticks coming back together. Ezekiel 37, man. On that note, until the next Tau, my knockers, you know, y'all keep staying up, suiting up and choosing up. We got big events happening very soon, right? And this frequency with this solar eclipse, year of the dragon, and this Tecumseh comet, this dragon returning is good news for the tribe, man. It's over with, man. It's over with. Yeah, I know you need your monies, and we all want to get paid. We all want to protect our families. But just like the first time leaving Egypt, just like the first time, the hijack gonna have to come up out their pockets. First time the Hebrews left Egypt, they were given all kind of gifts on the way out of Egypt once the Creator established them. And the people knew that they were HaWahs. And once we are established and all the hijack cannot refute who we are, man, they're going to give us land. They're going to give us everything they can to be in the good graces of our Creator. Don't even trip. You're getting it all back. You're going to get it back fast, my nigga. First thing that comes back is your land when you get back in code as a tribe, as a unit, man. You learn to keep the fire burning for a while. You keep the water flowing and you keep the code. So remember Exodus 20, my nigga, got us in code. And Hosea 3 say, first you're going to code up, seek the creator, right? Then we could be on a Prester John investigation and say, who is Prester John? ThaWaDa to my cons for all you do, for all the Baruch, for all the blessings you give us and give each other. This is our investigation, man, right here in Drop Nation. For the tribe, for the Khan dynasty, we remember and we see clearly. Halal HaWah to Bashabata. Shalom.